Hey everyone, and welcome back. Today we're digging into the latest numbers from Aztec Life Sciences Limited. Aztec operates in the agrochemical space, dealing with active ingredients, formulations, and intermediates, and they're also known for their contract development and manufacturing, or CDMO services. They are part of the Godrej Group, specifically a subsidiary of Godrej Agrovet.
That's right. They have a mix of domestic sales and exports to over 17 countries. It's quite a spread.
So they've released their audited financial results for the fourth quarter and the full financial year ended March 31, 2025. The board approved these results on April 23, 2025. We have both standalone and consolidated figures to look at. Let's start with the consolidated picture for Q4 and the full year. How did they fare, especially compared to last year?
Okay, looking at the consolidated results for Q4 FY25, that's the quarter ended March 31st, 2025. The total income came in at 120.3 crore rupees. This is actually down compared to the 155.8 crore rupees they reported in Q4 of the previous year, FY24.
A drop in income year over year for the quarter. What about the full year?
A similar trend for the full year FY25. Consolidated total income was 386.9 crore rupees, down from 463.8 crore rupees in FY24. That's a decrease of about 17% year over year.
Okay, revenue down both quarterly and annually. How did that translate to profitability? Let's talk EBITDA and profit after tax, or PAT.
Right, the profitability picture is challenging. For Q4 FY25, consolidated EBITDA was 6.3 crore rupees. That's a significant drop from the 14.8 crore rupees in Q4 FY24. However, the press release notes that this Q4 EBITDA showed a sequential improvement over Q3 FY25, where they actually had negative EBITDA of minus 3.8 crore rupees.
So a tough year-over-year comparison for Q4 EBITDA but better than the immediately preceding quarter. What about the full year EBITDA?
The full year FY25 consolidated EBITDA was actually a loss of 60.6 crore rupees compared to a small loss of 0.3 crore rupees in FY24. So a substantial decline in operational profitability for the full year.
A 60 crore rupee EBITDA loss for the year. That's significant. How does this flow down to profit before tax, PBT, and profit after tax, PAT?
It flows through directly. For Q4 FY25, the consolidated loss before tax, PBT, was 15.7 crore rupees compared to a loss of 0.9 crore rupees in Q4 FY24. The consolidated net loss after tax, PAT, for Q4 was 16.1 crore rupees against a loss of 1 crore rupees in the same quarter last year.
And for the full year FY25?
The consolidated loss before tax for FY25 ballooned to 141 crore rupees compared to a loss of 61.7 crore rupees in FY24. The consolidated net loss after tax for the full year was 134.7 crore rupees, significantly higher than the 46.9 crore rupees loss in FY24.
Wow, those are some substantial losses, both for the quarter and especially for the full year on a consolidated basis. How does the standalone picture compare? Did the core Indian entity perform differently?
The standalone results mirror the consolidated ones quite closely, which isn't surprising given the structure. For Q4 FY25 standalone, total income was 120.30 crore rupees. The loss before tax was 15.69 crore rupees, and the loss after tax was 16.10 crore rupees. For the full year FY25 standalone, total income was 386.86 crore rupees. Loss before tax was 14,111.82 lakh rupees, or 141.12 crore rupees. And loss after tax was 13,480.82 lakh rupees, or 134.81 crore rupees. Very similar numbers to the consolidated results.
Okay, so the challenges seem core to the main operations. What about earnings per share, or EPS? Given the losses, I assume it's negative?
Yes, exactly. The consolidated basic and diluted EPS for FY25 was negative 68.71 rupees compared to negative 23.93 rupees in FY24. A significant increase in loss per share.
Was there any significant other income impacting these results, or were there any exceptional items?
Other income wasn't hugely significant in the overall picture. For the full year consolidated, it was about 5.63 crore rupees. And importantly, there were no exceptional items reported in either the standalone or consolidated statements. This means the losses we're seeing are from their regular business operations.
No exceptional items makes the picture clearer, albeit a concerning one. Looking at profitability margins, with negative EBITDA and PAT, the margins are obviously negative, reflecting the operational difficulties.
Precisely. The consolidated EBITDA margin for the full year is deep in the negative territory, around -15.7%. The net loss margin is even starker at about -34.8% for FY25. The standalone margins are virtually identical.
Let's shift to the balance sheet. Given these significant losses, how has the equity position and debt situation evolved?
The losses have definitely impacted the equity base. Consolidated net worth stood at around 235 crore rupees as of March 31st, 2025, down significantly from about 370 crore rupees the previous year. The debt-equity ratio, as per the standalone notes, has increased quite a bit, moving from 1.34 last year to 2.37 this year, indicating higher leverage relative to the reduced equity. Consolidated total debt to total assets is 0.63.
Higher debt relative to equity is something to watch. How about cash flows? Did the operations burn cash?
Yes, the cash flow statement reflects the operational losses. Consolidated cash flow from operations before working capital changes was negative, around -4 crore rupees for FY25. After accounting for working capital adjustments, like increases in receivables and decreases in payables, the net cash used in operating activities was about -8.4 crore rupees for the year on a consolidated basis. This is a shift from the previous year, where they generated about 10 crore rupees from operations.
So cash burn from operations, where did the cash for investments and financing come from?
They invested about 21.8 crore rupees in property, plant and equipment during the year, net of sales. On the financing side, they took on significant new long-term borrowings of about 151 crore rupees while repaying around 60 crore rupees. They also drew down on short-term borrowings. This inflow from financing activities, around 23.7 crore rupees, helped manage the cash outflow from operations and investments.
Okay, so relying on debt financing to plug the gap, let's talk about the business segments. The press release broke down revenue into enterprise and contract manufacturing and new products. What did that show?
Right. For Q4 FY25, enterprise revenue was 50.5 crore rupees and contract manufacturing and new products was 69.0 crore rupees. Sequentially, enterprise revenue was up strongly by 48.1% compared to Q3 and contract manufacturing was up 15.4%.
That sequential growth in Q4 sounds like the improvement mentioned earlier. But how did they do year over year for the full FY25?
For the full year FY25, enterprise revenue was 177 crore rupees, down 4.5% from FY24. Contract manufacturing and new products revenue saw a much sharper decline, down 25.1% to 204.3 crore rupees compared to FY24.
A significant drop in contract manufacturing for the year. What did the management say about this?
The chairman, Mr. N.B. Godrej, commented on this. He noted the sequential improvement in Q4 performance was driven by increased volumes and prices in the enterprise business, coupled with a better product mix in CDMO. However, for the full year, profitability was hit hard by lower offtakes in the CDMO business and a sharp decline in prices for enterprise products, even though Q4 enterprise volumes saw healthy growth compared to Q4 last year. There was also a significant drop in CDMO volumes in Q4 FY25 compared to Q4 FY24.
So, a mixed bag within the segments, volume recovery in enterprise later in the year but hit by prices, and significant challenges in CDMO offtake and volumes. Geographically, any shifts?
Exports continue to dominate, accounting for 96 crore rupees in Q4 and 260 crore rupees for the full year. However, full year exports were down about 20.7% compared to FY24. Domestic revenue was also down 7% for the full year.
Okay, summing up the performance. A tough FY25, with significant consolidated and standalone losses, driven by lower CDMO offtakes and pricing pressure in the enterprise segment, despite some sequential volume recovery in Q4.
That captures it well. The company acknowledges these challenges and states they'll continue focusing on building a strong CDMO pipeline.
Are there any other significant notes or events mentioned in the filings?
Yes, a couple of things from the board meeting outcome communication. They've fixed the date for their 31st annual general meeting for Monday, July 28, 2025. They are also seeking shareholder approval for related party transactions with the holding company, Godrej Agrovet, exceeding the materiality threshold for FY26. And they noted the cessation of Mr. Arijit Mukherjee's designation as manager under the Companies Act, effective March 31, 2025. Although he continues as the Chief Operating Officer and senior management personnel.
Now, a critical part, the auditor's report. We have reports from BSR and Company, LLP for both standalone and consolidated results. What did the auditor say? Any qualifications or concerns?
This is crucial. For both the standalone and consolidated financial results for the year ended March 31, 2025, the auditors BSR and Company, LLP, have issued an unmodified opinion.
Unmodified. That means they found the financial statements give a true and fair view and are free from material misstatement, right?
Correct. There are no qualifications or adverse opinions. However, the auditors do include other matter paragraphs in both reports.
What do these other matter paragraphs highlight?
In both reports, they state that the financial results for the quarter ended March 31, 2025 are the balancing figures between the audited figures for the full financial year and the published unaudited year-to-date figures up to the third quarter. This is standard practice.
Okay, that's procedural. Anything specific in the consolidated report's other matters?
Yes, the consolidated report's other matter section mentions two additional points regarding subsidiaries. First, the consolidated results include the audited financial results of one subsidiary, Behram Chemicals Private Limited. These were audited by another auditor. The report quantifies their contribution, total assets of 148.80 lakh rupees, total revenue of 17.86 lakh rupees, and total net profit after tax of 11.85 lakh rupees for the year. BSR and Company state their opinion on the consolidated results concerning this subsidiary is based solely on the report of the other auditor. Second, the consolidated results include the unaudited financial results of another subsidiary, Commercializadora Agricola Agrostrakim Chichi Ltd. Their contribution is very small. Total assets of 0.18 lakh rupees, nil revenue, and nil net profit for the year. BSR and Company state their opinion is not modified in respect of this matter because these unaudited figures are not material to the group.
So to be clear, the main auditor issued an unmodified opinion on both sets of results. But for the consolidated financials, they relied on another auditor for one subsidiary and noted that another very small subsidiary's figures were unaudited but immaterial. No major red flags or qualifications from the auditors themselves on Astec's reporting.
Exactly. An unmodified opinion is a positive signal regarding the reliability of the presented financial figures, despite the poor operational performance reported within them.
Alright, so considering the performance, the segment challenges, and the clean auditor reports, what's the outlook for Astec LifeSciences?
Well, the chairman expressed cautious optimism, stating they expect uptick in the demand for enterprise and CDMO businesses and a gradual improvement in the performance in the coming year. The sequential improvement in Q4 perhaps lends some credence to this. However, the significant losses in FY25 highlight the challenges. Risks clearly include continued pricing pressure in the enterprise segment, volatility in CDMO customer offtakes, managing costs effectively, and handling the increased debt levels. Of course, as always, disclaimer, we advise investors to check with certified experts before taking any investment decisions.
So wrapping it up, Astec LifeSciences faced a very difficult FY25, reporting substantial losses on both standalone and consolidated levels due to market headwinds in its key segments. While Q4 showed some sequential improvement, the year-over-year picture remains challenging. The auditor's reports are clean with unmodified opinions, which provide some comfort on the reporting accuracy. The outlook seems to hinge on a gradual market recovery and the company's ability to navigate the CDMO landscape and pricing pressures.
A fair summary. It was a year of significant financial strain, but the company seems focused on recovery, and the lack of auditor qualifications is a key point amidst the negative results.
Definitely a company to watch to see if that expected gradual improvement materializes in the coming quarters. Thanks for breaking that all down for us. And thanks to all of you for tuning in. We'll catch you on the next episode.